ನಲಿದಾಡಿದಳ್ ನಳಿನಾಂಬಗಿ ನಲಿದಾಡಿದಳ್ ನಳಿನಾಂಬಗಿ ಒಲಿದೆಮ್ಮನು ಸಲಹಲೋ ಸುಗ ನಲಿದಾಡಿದಳ್ ನಳಿನಾಂಬಗಿ ಒಲಿದೆಮ್ಮನು ಸಲಹಲೋ ಸುಗ ನಲಿದಾಡಿದಳ್ ನಳಿನಾ ಸುಲಲಿತ ವೀಣಾ ಪಾಣಿ ಜಲಜೋದ್ಭವ ರಮಣಿ ಸುಗುಣಿ ಸುಲಲಿತ ವೀಣಾ ಪಾಣಿ ಜಲಜೋದ್ಭವ ರಮಣಿ ಸುಗುಣಿ ನಲಿದಾಡಿದಳ್ ನಳಿನಾಂಬಗಿ ಒಲಿದೆಮ್ಮನು ಸಲಹಲೋ ಸುಗ ನಲಿದಾಡಿದಳ್ ನಳಿನಾಂಬಗಿ कृतीश सुते कृपान्विते श्रुति सम्मत गीते कृतीश सुते कृपान्विते श्रुति सम्मत गीते प्रतिरहिते सति पूजिते प्रतिरहिते सति पूजिते प्रतियामित शोभितळे धृति संभृति मतिदायकि प्रतियामित शोभितळे धृति संभृति मतिदायकि नलिदाडिदळ್ नಳಿनांबगी ಒಲಿದೆಮ್ಮನು ಸಲಹಲೋ ಸುಗ ನಲಿದಾಡಿದಳ್ ನಳಿನಾಂಬಗಿ इभेन्द्रगमे विधुमण्डल निभमुखि शिखियाने इभेन्द्रगमे विधुमण्डल निभमुखि शिखियाने अभयप्रदे अखिलेश्वरि अभयप्रदे अखिलेश्वरि सुभुजे शुभदे विबुधे अभवे सद्विभवास्पदे सुभुजे शुभदे विबुधे अभवे सद्विभवास्पदे नलिदाडिदळ್ नಳಿनांबगी ಒಲಿದೆಮ್ಮನು ಸಲಹಲೋ ಸುಗ नलिदाडिदळ् नळिनाम्बकी पराम्बरी सुपदाश्रितन प्रभाकर शताभे पराम्बरी सुपदाश्रितन प्रभाकर शताभे हरिलक्ष्मी नारायणि हरिलक्ष्मी नारायणि शरणे ऋतुनाभरणे करुणारसवरुणालये शरणे ऋतुनाभरणे करुणारसवरुणालये नलिदाडिदळ् नळिनाम्बकी नलिदाडिदळ् नळिनाम्बकी ओलिदೆಮ್ಮನು ಸಲಹಲೋ ಸುಗ ನಲಿದಾಡಿದಳ್ ನಳಿನಾಂಬಕಿ ಒಲಿದೆಮ್ಮನು ಸಲಹಲೋ ಸುಗ ನಲಿದಾಡಿದಳ್ ನಳಿನಾಂಬಕಿ
सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा यस्यान्तं न विदुःसुरासुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः. Let us chant from verse number 14. अनन्यचेता सततं यो मां स्मरति नित्यशः तस्याहं सुलभः पार्थ नित्ययुक्तस्य योगिनः मामुपेत्य पुनर्जन्म दुःखालयमशाश्वतं नाप्नुवन्ति महात्मानः संसिद्धिं परमां गताः आब्रह्मभुवनाल्लोकाः पुनरावर्तिनोऽर्जुन मामुपेत्य तु कौन्तेय पुनर्जन्म न विद्यते सहस्रयुगपर्यन्तम् रात्रिं युगसहस्रान्तां ते होरात्रविदो जनाः अव्यक्ताद्व्यक्तयः सर्वाः प्रभवन्त्यहरागमे रात्र्यागमे प्रलीयन्ते तत्रैवाव्यक्तसंज्ञके भूतग्रामः स एवायं भूत्वा भूत्वा प्रलीयते रात्र्यागमे वशः पार्थ प्रभवत्यहरागमे परस्तस्मात्तु भावोऽन्यः अव्यक्तो व्यक्तात् सनातनः यस्य सर्वेषु भूतेषु न विनश्यति अव्यक्तोऽक्षर इत्युक्तः तमाहुः परमां गतिं यं प्राप्य न निवर्तन्ते तद्धाम परमं मम. So the 8th chapter begins with 7 questions raised by Arjuna. What is Brahma? What is Adhyatma? What is Karma? What is Adhibhuta? What is Adhideva? What is Adhiyajna? 6th question. And the 7th question was, how a person can hold on to you at the time of death. So in just 2 verses, Bhagavan answers the first 6 questions, and then the entire 8th chapter is dedicated to answer the 7th question. So what is the sum and substance of discussion till now? Arjuna, if you want to hold on to me throughout your life, you must remember me with love, with devotion. You must love me, you must value me. This has to become a samskara in you. Remembering me should become a habit in you, a natural tendency in you. And for this, you will have to practice throughout your life. Because the law of life is, whatever you constantly think, in that direction you go at the time of death. Because only that particular samskara will predominate the person at the time of death. So if this is the law, may you make use of this law. How to make use of this law? By constantly entertaining the thought regarding me. So this was the discussion of the whole chapter. What happens if a person doesn't think of Bhagavan? So then yesterday we were seeing, Bhagavan says, Arjuna, this Punarjanma can go on and on and on. There is no end to it. From the beginningless past, the creation has been going on, and it will go on for the endless future also. There is no end. Brahmajis will come again and again, one after the other. So one day of Brahmaji is 1000 Chaturyugas. So after 1000 Chaturyuga, he will go to sleep, and then the pralaya comes. Then he again wakes up, new creation begins. New creation means what? The same old jivas, again they are born. Bhutva bhutva praliyate. Avashaha praliyate. Helplessly they are born back into the world because of their own samskaras, because of their own tendencies. And this birth can go on and on and on. That bhutva, bhutva has that emphasis. So here very clearly Bhagavan mentions rebirth, very clearly. So Arjuna, if you have to escape from this rebirth, as far as the creation is concerned, it will go on and on and on, but you can escape from this. You need not suffer this. How to do that, Bhagavan? Pay attention to that thing in you which is imperishable. Yassa sarveshu bhuteshu nashyatsu na vinashyati. This is the thing to be done. There is something in you, Arjuna, which doesn't perish. Vinashyatsu. The entire personality of that person, everything is perishing. The body, mind, intellect, everything perishes. But there is something in us which doesn't perish. In second chapter, Bhagwan gives the experiential proof for this. We had discussed second chapter here also. So what was the experiential proof given in the second chapter? Dehinosmin yatha dehe kaumaram yauvanam jara tatha dehantara praptihi dhirastatra namuhyate. So Bhagavan says, Arjuna, the whole body, it goes through various stages. What are the stages? The childhood, the boyhood, the adulthood, the old age. These are all the various stages that go. But the observer of these changes, this observer doesn't change. So this is something which we experience. So how do we know that the observer of these changes in the body doesn't change? We know it because the very fact that we are able to remember our childhood proves that we were there when we were having the childhood body. Today I am having an old body. Few years back I was having a childhood body. So what has changed? The body has changed, the mind has changed, the intellect has changed, everything has changed. But the observer of the body has not changed. What is the proof? The very same recollector in the present is the very same experiencer of the past. So the one who has experienced the childhood body in the past, the very same experiencer of the past is the very same recollector. I am remembering. So the rememberer of the present is the experiencer of the past. If the experiencer of the past was different from the rememberer of the present, then what will happen? Definitely I will not be able to remember my past. The very fact that I am able to remember my past shows that I was present in the past. So if I was present in the past, so that past I is the very same as present I. So if past I equal to present I, what does it indicate? I has not changed. So that means what? Bhuteshu nashyatsu na vinashyati. This I has no destruction. It has no death. So if this logic is true, so in the future a day will come when the body will die. What will happen to the I in the body? There will not be any destruction, because throughout our life body has been changing, but this I did not change. So in the future, extending the logic, we can say the body will be drop dead, but this I will not get destroyed. So Arjuna, pay attention to that I in you, the self in you. That very same self is me. So recognize me in you. Hold on to me in you. And who is that me in you? The very same Supreme Self, the pure consciousness. Avyaktokshara ityuktaha. What is the nature of this consciousness? It is avyaktaha, unmanifest. This consciousness cannot be seen through the senses. This consciousness cannot be thought by the mind, so therefore it is unmanifest. But just because it is unmanifest doesn't mean it is not there. It is very much there. It is the very observer in you. It is the very witnessing consciousness in you. And what is its nature? Aksharaha, imperishable is its nature. And this itself is Paramam Gatim, the highest goal to be gained. And this very same goal is my abode. Yam prapya na nivartante Tad dhama paramam mama. This is my supreme abode. It is me only. The self in you is none other than me. So therefore, try to attain me. But Bhagavan, how can I attain you? I have already told you. But again I will repeat. Verse number 22. Purushasaf paraf partha bhaktya labhyastvananyaya yasyantasthani bhutani yena sarvamidam tatam. Purushasaf paraf partha bhaktya labhyastvananyaya yasyantasthani bhutani yena sarvamidam tatam. So how is he labhyaha, available? How can we attain Bhagavan? Saha paraha purushaha bhaktya ananyaya bhaktya labhyaha. That Supreme Lord who is a very self in us can be attained by what? Ananya bhakti. Now see, again and again Bhagavan is emphasizing on what? On bhakti. Earlier also it was said that it is only through bhakti you can attain me. Isn't it? Bhaktya yukto yoga balena chaiva, it has come. Mai arpita manobuddhi, that also is nothing but bhakti only. So again and again, if there is one thing which Bhagavan is emphasizing, that is bhakti. Not only in this chapter, you will find everywhere, in all chapters. Finally the discussion will come, Bhagavan will say, I can be attained only through bhakti. So this is the most important thing to be kept in mind. And who is this Bhagavan? Yasya antasthani bhutani. The one who is there in the hearts of all beings. Yasya antasthani bhutani. So everyone can experience him in one's own heart. As what? As the pure consciousness. Yasya antasthani bhutani yena sarvamidam tatam, by which the whole world is pervaded. The very same God is there in our heart. The very same God pervades the whole world. All these things we have already discussed. How can we say that consciousness pervades the whole world? We can say so because the whole world exists in the mind, and the mind exists in consciousness. So therefore the world exists in consciousness. So therefore what is the content of the world? The essential content of the world is nothing but the content of consciousness, because the world is existing in consciousness. So therefore we can say consciousness pervades the whole world. Just like, where do the gold ornaments exist? They exist in gold, so therefore we can say gold pervades all the golden ornaments. Water pervades the whole wave. In the same way, consciousness pervades the whole world because the world is existing in consciousness. Yena sarvamidam tatam. So Arjuna, shift your attention to that consciousness, attain me and get liberated here itself. Now Bhagavan takes up a new topic. The topic about what happens to different categories of yogis, sadhakas, devotees who don't attain Bhagavan. A different topic is taken up. If you read these verses, the literal translation of it, you will be totally confused. Anyway, first let us chant these verses. Verse number 23, 24, 25. Yatra kale tvanavrittim आवृत्तिं चैव योगिनः प्रयाता यान्ति तं कालम् वक्ष्यामि भरतर्षभ अग्निर्ज्योतिरः शुक्लः षण्मासा उत्तरायणम् तत्र प्रयाता गच्छन्ति ब्रह्म ब्रह्मविदो जनाः धूमो रात्रिस्तथा कृष्णः षण्मासा दक्षिणायनम् तत्र चान्द्रमसं ज्योतिः योगी प्राप्य निवर्तते यत्र काले त्वनावृत्तिम् आवृत्तिं चैव योगिनः प्रयाता यान्ति तं कालं वक्ष्यामि भरतर्षभ अग्निर्ज्योतिरः शुक्लः तत्र प्रयाता गच्छन्ति ब्रह्म ब्रह्मविदो जनाः धूमो रात्रिस्तथा कृष्णः षण्मासा दक्षिणायनम् तत्र चान्द्रमसं ज्योतिः योगी प्राप्य निवर्तते. First let us see the literal translation of these verses. So what is being said here? Prayata yoginah, these yogis who are going to leave their body. Those yogis who are going to leave their body, yatra kale, at that particular time. Arjuna, I will tell you that time when the yogi, when they leave their body, when they go to the path of return, avrittim, and when they go through the path of no return, anavrittim, that I will tell you. So what is being said is, at the time of death, these yogis who have not attained me, Arjuna, there is a particular time when they die, they come back. And there is another particular time when they die, they don't come back. Come back means, come back to this world. That time I will tell you. The term used is kala, time. So first I will talk about those yogis who don't come back. Agni, fire. Jyoti, light. Ahaha, day. Shuklaha, Shukla Paksha. Shanmasa Uttarayanam, the 6 months of Uttarayana. Tatra Prayata Gachanti Brahma Brahmavido Janaha. Those yogis who attain these yogis are Brahmavidah, they are the knowers of Brahman, and therefore Brahma Gachanti. These people attain Brahman. What did you understand? Anyway, this non-understanding will continue in the next verse also. Dhumaha. So, one type of yogi who don't return. So they attain, what all do they attain? Agni, Jyoti, Aha, Shukla, Shanmasa, Uttarayanam. They attain that. And then they are the knowers of Brahman and they go to Brahman. So these are the yogis who don't come back. And who are the yogis who come back? What do they attain? Dhumaha. smoke. Ratri, fire. Krishna. Krishna is not Lord Krishna. Krishna means dark. So Krishna Paksha. Shanmasa Dakshinayanam, the 6 months of Dakshinayana. Tatra Chandramasam Jyotihi Yogi Prapya Nivartate. So attaining all this, Chandramasam Jyoti means the light of the moon, moonlight. So this yogi attaining all this, Nivartate, they come back. Now what do you understand? So this is where we have to be truly grateful to the great commentators like Bhagavan Sri Adi Shankaracharya ji. Without their commentary, we will not understand anything. Very confusing verse. You may be a Sanskrit Pandit. If you read the literal translation, nothing will be understood. Right. Now, before that, let us discuss some topics and then we will come to this. So, in this world, there are 4 types of sadhakas or 4 types of people in generally. The first one, abhaktas. Abhaktas means what? They don't have any faith in God. Abhaktas. Number 2, in bhaktas also there are so many categories. Number 2, sakama bhaktas. Sakama bhakta means what? Anyway, discussion we will take up later. So, abhaktas, sakama bhaktas, nishkama bhaktas, and the 4th one, jnanis. These are the 4 types of people you will find in this society. So, first one is abhakta. Who is an abhakta? People who don't have faith in God, they don't believe in God. They live a licentious life, sensuous life. They are called as abhaktas. The second category is sakama bhaktas. They believe in God, but what is their philosophy of life? World itself is the source of happiness. Through world only you can get happiness. Bhagavan is the means, world is the goal. They are called as sakama bhakta. Sakama means what? They have lot of desires. Kamana is there. Desires about what? Desires of the world. They have so many desires of the world. And what is the best way of fulfilling these desires? Through God. So therefore, they are devotees. Bhagavan calls them also yogis only. So in general term, they are also yogi. Who is a yogi? The one who does yoga. What is yoga? Yoga means to unite. The one who unites with God is a yogi. Why you are uniting is a different matter. But you are at least invoking God, therefore you are a yogi. So these people can be called sakama yogis. They approach God. They don't want God, they want something from God. This way we have to understand. So they are sakama bhaktas or sakama yogis. Then the third category is nishkama bhaktas. Who are these nishkama bhaktas? They don't want anything of the world, they want Bhagavan. Nishkamana means there is no desire. They desire only God. Nishkama bhaktas. In this nishkama bhaktas also there are 2 categories. One is saguna bhakta, the other is nirguna bhakta. Who is a saguna bhakta? The one who worships God with a form, with attributes, they are called as saguna bhakta. For example, they worship God as Rama, as Krishna, as Ganapati. There is a form, they meditate on that form. So they are called as saguna bhaktas. The other category, nirguna bhaktas. Nirguna bhakta means what? They don't have a form, etc. They meditate on God as their own self. And since this self has no gunas, no properties, so they are called as nirguna bhaktas. Both of them, whether they are saguna bhakta or nirguna bhakta, both of them are nishkama bhaktas. They desire God alone. So this is the third category. And the fourth category is jnani. Who is a jnani? Jnani is the one who has attained this knowledge, who is liberated. So what are the four categories? Number one, abhaktas. Number two, sakama bhaktas. Number three, nishkama bhaktas. In the nishkama bhakta, two types. Who are they? Saguna bhakta and nirguna bhakta. So that is nishkama bhakta, third one, and the fourth one, jnani. Yes. Now the question is, these people, where do they go after death? This discussion has to be taken up. Because this chapter is all about life after death, so we have to discuss all categories. So where do these people go after death? This is the question. Now what is about the first category? Abhaktas. Where do they go? They live a licentious life, unrighteous life. They have no faith in God. They have no faith in afterlife. They live an animalistic life, selfish life, self-centered life. What will happen to them? That description is not given in this chapter. It is given in the 16th chapter. So what happens to them? They will go to the lower worlds, the Narakati Lokas. They suffer there, and after lot of suffering, mind gets purified, and then again they come back to this world. This description is taken in the 16th chapter. In this chapter, those people are not mentioned. So this is about abhaktas. What is the second category? Sakama bhaktas. Who is a sakama bhakta? They have lot of kamanas, lot of worldly desires, and to fulfill those worldly desires, they do puja, homa, havana, this, that, etc. So many things they do. But what do they want? They don't want God. They want something from God. Now, what happens to them? So they are the people who go through the path of return. They are the people who come back. Why do they come back? Because at the time of death, what kind of thoughts they will have? They will definitely have worldly thoughts. Since they will have worldly thoughts, where will they go to? They will go to the world. Because you have so many desires of the world to be fulfilled, they will have to come back. So about them is what? This verse number 25 is mentioning about this kind of devotees. They are also yogi. Tatra chandramasam jyotihi yogi prapya nivartate. They come back. So this is the path of return. Now the question is, why these terms are used? Dhuma is smoke. Ratri means fire. Krishna is Krishna Paksha, it's a time. Shanmasa, Dakshinayana. Why all these terms are mentioned? So here we are not talking of smoke or night or fire, etc. What we are talking of is, these are all the presiding deities. These are all the presiding deities who take this Jivatma to such worlds and bring them back. It is exactly like, see, when a person dies, his subtle body is there, but how will he know where to go? Physical body is not there, but he is still there. How will he know where to go? So Bhagavan has made all arrangements. So the moment he dies, the Sukshma Sharira is there. The Sukshma Sharira is carried into different worlds through different deities. There are Devatas who are appointed for this, to lead the departed soul. These are all the names of these Devatas. It is exactly like when you go to an airport. First time you are going to the airport. Till now you have only visited bus stand and railway station. First time when you go to an airport, you will be totally confused, isn't it? There are so many things. You enter first. In the beginning itself, there is that, they will ask the ID and ticket, etc. And then again you go in. Then somebody will say, here, this way. See, you will have somebody to guide you. Which airline you are? Oh, this airline, come this way. Because there are so many boards also. Which is the queue? Somebody has to guide you. Then again, somebody is standing there in that uniform to guide you. That particular airline, whoever, that person is there in that particular dress. And that dress, why do they wear that dress? So that others can easily identify them. So they are all devatas of that particular airline. So you go there, and the process is very complicated. What is that? Check-in baggage or something. 2 types of bag. The bag, one which goes under the plane. The one bag which you carry with you, hand baggage. Different procedures are there. And even when you get this ticket, which gate number, somebody has to guide you. Somewhere that gate will be not seen. So somebody else will be there to guide you. And then it's not over. Then again, security check, somebody will scan you. The police, they are all devatas. And finally, where will you go? You go to that particular gate, you sit. So even if for this, such a simple thing called boarding a flight, if it is such a complicated thing, then what to talk of this? So therefore, Bhagavan has made all arrangements to take care of you after death also. Where you will go, which world you will go, everything will depend on your karma account, karmic account. Based on that, these devatas are there to guide you. So, as far as Sakama Bhaktas are concerned, verse number 25, because they come back. Tatra Chandramasam Jyotihi Yogi Prapya Nivartate. They come back. Why do they come back? Because they are Sakama, full of desires are there, worldly desires are there. So definitely at the time of death, what kind of thoughts must have occupied their mind? Worldly thoughts. So since their mind is full of worldly thoughts, what is the law? Yam vapi smaran bhavam tyajatyante kalevaram tam eva eti kaunteya sada tad bhava bhavita. All the time the mind is filled with worldly thoughts, so they come back. So this is the path of return. Yogi prapya nivartate. So this is about Sakama Bhakta. Now what is the next one? Nishkama Bhakta. In that Nishkama Bhakta, 2 categories are there. One is Saguna Bhakta, the other is Nirguna Bhakta. So who is a Nishkama Bhakta? They are not interested in the world. They are not interested in worldly pleasures. They are only interested in God. So first we will take about Sakama Bhakta. Saguna Bhakta. Saguna Bhakta. So, who is a Saguna Bhakta? So now here is a person who loves Bhagavan in a particular form. Saguna. Bhagavan with a form. It can be Saguna Sakara also, with a particular form, with a particular attribute. He meditates. He may be worshipping Rama or Krishna or Allah or Jesus, whatever. It can be anything. But one thing, he is very clear, this Bhagavan is not me. He is different from me. Dasoham is his attitude. And he finds tremendous joy in meditating upon the glories of the Lord. He finds tremendous joy in this kind of meditation, in meditating upon the Leelas of the Lord. So such a Saguna Nishkama Bhakta we are discussing about. Now, has he gained the highest knowledge? No. Why? According to him, Bhagavan is this Rama, Bhagavan is this Krishna. So according to him, what is liberation? Going to Vaikuntha is liberation. If he is a Shiva Bhakta, going to Kailasa is liberation. Such people are there. So now, after death, where should they go? Can they come back? They cannot come back because they don't have worldly desires. Can they be liberated? They cannot be liberated because jnana is not there. What is jnana? Aham Brahma Asmi. This is jnana. God is none other than my own self. This is knowledge. They have neither attained knowledge nor they have desire for the world. Where will they go? So for them, verse number 24. What is being said? They are also guided by certain deities, presiding deities. And who are they? Agnihi, fire. Jyotihi, light. Ahaha, day. So presiding deity of the day. Shuklaha, the presiding deity of Shukla Paksha. Shanmasa Uttarayanam, the 6 months of Uttarayana. It's a presiding deity. We are not talking of time here. We are not talking of 6 months here. We are talking of the presiding deity who is presiding these 6 months. Tatra prayata ganchanti brahma vido janaha. Now what are they called as? Brahma vido janaha, the knowers of Brahman. Which Brahman? Not Nirguna Brahman, Saguna Brahman. They are very near to God. They are meditating on God, but a particular form of God. That form of God, we have to say, it is Saguna Brahma, not Nirguna Brahma. So where should they go? It is said, Brahma Gacchanti. They attain Brahman. Now here we have to understand where actually they go. So we have discussed the higher worlds. What are the higher worlds? Bhuhu, Bhuaha, Suaha, Mahaha, Janaha, Tapaha, Satyam. The final world is Satyaloka or Brahmaloka. So these devotees, what happens to them is they will not come back, but they will go from one world to the other. Why do they go? Because they asked for it. Bhagwan, I want to know your glories. This is their desire. So how will you know the glory of Bhagwan? You will have to go through all those higher worlds. So taking different bodies at the Sukshma Sharira level, they go through this world. And what is the final world? It is Brahmaloka. So in Brahmaloka, you will perceive the world according to your vasana. So if you have worshipped Shiva, so Brahmaloka will appear to be Shivaloka. And Brahmaji will appear to be Shiva. If you have worshipped Rama, so Brahmaloka will appear to be, I think it is Saloka or something. Saket Lok, something, I don't know. So who will be the Ishta Devata? Rama will be there. If you have worshipped Vishnu, the very same Brahmaloka will appear as Vaikuntha and Brahmaji will appear as Vishnu. Actually, it is your projection of your own mind. The whole world is a projection of your mind. Now what will happen there is, now let us talk about Brahmaji and Brahmaloka. So these yogis, they reach there, they remain in Brahmaloka, but there, what is missing in them for liberation? The knowledge of the self. So Brahmaji himself gives this knowledge to the yogis there. These Nishkama Saguna Upasakas, they are given the knowledge of the self before the dissolution. Just before Pralaya, this knowledge is given to them. And thus they get liberated. Because this knowledge is the only thing which is lacking. Without this knowledge, there is no question of liberation. This knowledge given by Brahmaji himself in Brahmaloka. This process of liberation is called Krama Mukti. Krama Mukti. Krama Mukti means liberation in stages. That is what is mentioned here. So if you see the yogis who come back and the yogis who don't come back, if you see the presiding deities, you can see the difference. What is the difference? The path of return, you will find that it is all dark. Dhumaha, smoke. Ratri, see. Krishna Paksha, they are all dark, dark, dark. What about this path of no return? It's all brilliance. Agni, fire. Jyoti, light. Ahaha, day. You see? So there is a big difference between these two yogis, the Sakama Bhakta and Nishkama Bhaktas. There is a huge difference. The one is a, the one is a worshipper of matter. Sakama Bhakta is nothing but worshipper of matter. The other is a worshipper of God. And so therefore there is a huge difference between these two. So the deities also represent their nature. Now, this is about Nishkama, Saguna, Upasaka. Who is left? Nishkama, Nirguna Upasaka. What will happen to him? What is his object of meditation? The self. So where will he go? He will become a jnani. And what happens to a jnani? Which world does he go? Which world does a jnani go? As far as a jnani is concerned, there is no world. Brahma Satyam, Jagan Mithya, there is no world only. So where will he go? He will remain as consciousness. Or put in another way, who is the one who is going and coming into different worlds? Jivatma, isn't it? What happens in a jnani? The Jiva Bhava is gone. The sense of individuality is dissolved. So then who will go? The ego itself is not there. So as far as a jnani is concerned, he merges with the infinite consciousness and he experiences only consciousness. There is no world to go and there is no individual to go. There is neither Jagat, there is no Jiva. There is only Ishvara as pure consciousness. So as far as a jnani is concerned, these two paths are not for jnani. Got it? Clear? So we have discussed all the categories. Abhaktas, Sakama Bhaktas, Nishkama Saguna Bhakta, Nishkama Nirguna Bhakta and Jnani. All cases are over? Yes. Now, here in verse number 23, when it is said, Yatra Kale, what Bhagavan said is, Arjuna, I will tell you the time when the yogis go through the path of return and path of non-return. The question is, does it have anything to do with time? Is there something called auspicious time of death and inauspicious time of death? So here Bhagavan Shankaracharya writes, this Kala has nothing to do with time, it is only the path. So here Kala has to be understood as Marga, not time. Well, very many people have this notion, especially at Bhishmacharya. He waited for that Uttarayana Kala and died. So very many people have this notion that if you die on an auspicious day, auspicious time, you will go to higher worlds. Kuch nahi, there is no such thing. So rowdy number one, he dies on a very auspicious day. You mean to say he will go to higher world? Illogical and meaningless. Then Bhagavan will be contradicting his own statement. He has said, at the time of death, whatever he thinks, he will go there. He thinks only criminal thoughts and then he will go to nobler worlds. Impossible. This has to be very clear. So at what time you die, it is immaterial. With what kind of thoughts you die, that is the most important thing. Now a question comes, then Bhagavan, why did that Bhishmacharya wait for that Uttarayana Kala? He could have just left the body. So we say, even if let us assume that there is an auspicious time of death, say Uttarayana Kala is a very good time. If that is the case, and if a criminal dies during Uttarayana Kala, then he will wait in the launch till the Dakshinayana comes. Exact like the airport. What will you do after going through the gate? You will wait, isn't it? Till your flight comes, you have a time given, till then you wait, isn't it? In the same way, there is a waiting launch. After death also, you wait in a particular state till that particular auspicious time comes. This is the logic given by Guruji. Very nice logic. For those people who are saying, no, why Bhishma was waiting for? So something has to do with time. We will say, even if you leave the body, you will have to wait there. In case you die at the wrong time, at the appropriate time only, that Sukshma Sharira is taken to the higher worlds. Right. Clear? Yes. Moving forward. Verse number 26. Shukla Krishne gati hete Jagata shashvate mate Ekaya yatyana vrittim Anyaya vartate punaha Shukla Krishne gati hete Jagata shashvate mate Ekaya yatyana vrittim Anyaya vartate punaha. Yes. So earlier Bhagavan said Kale, time. Now here Bhagavan makes it very clear, it is not time, it is a path. Shukla Krishne gati. Gati means the path. Hyete Jagata Shashvate Mate. In this world, these are the two eternal paths. One is Shukla Gati, the other is Krishna Gati. Shukla Gati, Krishna Gati. Ekaya yati anavrittim, anyaya avartate punaha. Through one, the yogi comes back. Through the other, the yogi goes to no return. These are the only two paths. So Krishna Gati, the person who dies, is nothing but Sakama Bhakta, he comes back. Shukla Gati, Shukla means white. Shukla Gati, such a yogi doesn't come back. These are the two eternal paths. Now anyway, we don't have to worry about these paths. Our job is to live a wonderful life here. After that, these presiding deities are there. They will take care of us. We don't have to worry about all these things. So therefore, no much details are given here. So if you have lot of doubts, keep your doubts with yourself, because nobody is there. This is all the information we have about after death. And we need not know also. There are so many things, they are unwanted informations. Out of compassion, Bhagavan has given some information here. This is all what is available. But Bhagavan, why did you take up this discussion now? Arjuna, this discussion is taken to tell you, don't choose both of these paths. The Shukla Gati and Krishna Gati, don't go by that path. Attain liberation here and now in this world itself. Become a jnani and finish off the business. That is the next verse, verse number 27. Naite sruti partha janan yogi mukhyati kaschana tasmat sarveshu kaleshu yoga yukto bhavarjuna naite sruti partha janan yogi muhyati kaschana tasmat sarveshu kaleshu. Yes, a yogi, janan, knowing. What does he know? Ete sruti, these two paths. Once a yogi knows these two paths, Kaschana na muhyati. He will never be deluded. Once he knows this, he will never be deluded. Muhyati. He will not come under moha. What is this moha? Bhagavan Shankaracharya ji writes, moho nama moksha virodhi marga smaranam. Moho nama moksha virodhi marga smaranam. This is moha. What is delusion? At the time of death, remembering anything other than God as Supreme Self is moha. So at the time of death, where should be the mind be? In your own Supreme Self, which is God. Anything other than that is moha alone, is delusion alone. So it becomes very clear at the time of death what we should think. Not about the world, not about even Saguna Brahma also. Because then what will happen? You will go to different worlds. I have told you what is Brahmaji's lifespan. Just imagine going to Brahmaloka, remaining there, and just before dissolution, Brahmaji will give you this same Atmanyana, same thing, Tattvamasi only he will give you. He will teach Upanishads, which is nothing but essence of Bhagavad Gita. So how long you have to wait? What is the lifespan of Brahmaji? You remember? How many? 3 crore years. Do you have to wait for that long? So Bhagavan is telling Arjuna, don't be stupid. At the time of death, be very clear what to meditate upon. So a person who knows that there is no other choice, a person who knows these two paths, he will not be deluded. Therefore, tasmat what? Sarveshu kaleshu. Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu. Where has this expression come? In which verse? In the same chapter. Remember? Verse number 7 you see. What is written there? Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mam anusmara. Therefore, at all times remember me. Now what is written here? Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu yoga yukto bhava. So who is a true yogi? True yogi is the one who remembers Bhagavan, meditates upon Bhagavan in its true nature, in its true form, which is none other than his own self. Such a person is a true yogi. Bhagavan has to be meditated upon one's own self. Now, you may have this question, so do you mean to say we should not worship Rama, Krishna, etc.? See, we have no objection in your worshipping any form, but that is only an intermediary stage. This has to be understood. That meditation is very useful in the sense, in the beginning, meditating upon consciousness is very difficult because it is avyakta. You can't hold it through the mind and the senses. So therefore, in the Puranas itself, in the scriptures itself, Saguna Dhyana Upasana is recommended. Meditating upon a form is easy. Meditating upon the virtues of the Lord is easy. Meditating upon the Leelas of the Lord is easy. You have the mind gets something to hold on. Mind has something to meditate upon. So therefore, we are not criticizing Saguna Upasana here, but Saguna Upasana is an intermediate stage. With Saguna Upasana, you get Chitta Shuddhi and Chitta Ekagrata. Mind becomes extremely pure, mind becomes extremely concentrated. So all these upasanas have got their place in the spiritual scheme. But what has to be kept in mind? Just meditating upon the form alone will not do. You have to go higher. Otherwise, what will happen? If only Sagunopasana is higher, then you will find that in society there will be lot of problem, because everyone will have one Ishta Devata and they will say that my God alone is supreme, my God alone is supreme, and every God is different. So what will happen in the society? There will only be fight. That itself shows that that is not the highest. What is the proof that knowledge is the highest? The proof is there should be harmony, there should be peace, there should be oneness, there should be no difference of opinion. Now, when you meditate on God as consciousness, can there be any difference of opinion? No. Consciousness can be only one. There is no Hindu consciousness, Muslim consciousness, Christian consciousness, there is no such thing. There is only one consciousness. It is pure consciousness. So then what happens? Everyone comes to the same point. So this point we have to reach. So the one who meditates on this has to be called a true yogi. Therefore, Arjuna, become a yogi. This is the last verse, verse number 28. Vedeshu yajneshu tapassu chaiva daneshu yat punya phalam pradishtam atyeti tat sarvamidam viditva yogi param sthanamupayati chadyam vedeshu yajneshu tapassu chaiva daneshu yat punya phalam pratishtam atyeti tat sarvamidam viditva yogi param sthanamupayati chadyam. Yes. Whatever punya phala is mentioned for all these noble deeds, yat punya phalam pradishtam, whatever result of all these punya karmas are mentioned in the scriptures. What are the punya karmas? Vedeshu, yajneshu, tapassu, daneshu. So when you do all these things, you get some punya. Vedeshu, chanting Veda mantras, it creates punya in you. It's a punya karma. Yajneshu, performing yajna, havana, homa, etc., that also creates punya. Tapassu, tapas, doing various kinds of austerities, that also generates punya. Daneshu, being charitable, doing charity, danam, that also generates punya. But atyeti tat sarvamidam viditva, a yogi, he crosses over all this by gaining this knowledge. So what is most important? Gaining this knowledge is important. Tat sarvamidam viditva atyeti, he transcends. This yogi param sthanam cha adyam param sthanam upeti. This yogi attains the highest state. This yogi attains, transcending all the other punya karmas. By gaining this knowledge, this yogi attains the highest. So what is being said here? Arjuna, this knowledge is the highest. All the other things are fine. It can create punya. But which is the highest? This knowledge is the highest. Why do you think this knowledge is highest? Bhagavan is telling there are so many spiritual sadhanas you can do. Chanting Veda mantras you can do. Giving charity you can do. Lot of tapas you can do. So many things you can do. But nothing like this. Now what is the difference between all the sadhanas and jnana sadhana? What is the difference? It may appear that all sadhanas are same. Bhagavan says, no, this is something different. The difference is this. Whatever sadhana you do, your individuality remains. This is the problem. You chant any number of Veda mantras, you remain an individual. Yes or no? Jivatma remains. You do any kind of tapas, Jivatma remains. You do how much ever charity you want, Jivatma remains. What is the one thing which puts an end to the existence of Jivatma? Jivatma or the ego is an illusion, and this illusion can go only through knowledge. This Jivatma is born out of ignorance. We don't know who we are. We think we are the observed body. The whole root of problem is I don't know who I am. I think I am this body. This is the root of the problem. The entire Jivatma is existing because of the ignorance of one's own self. And the whole birth, death cycle, the whole going and coming and bhutva praliyate, for whom? Jivatma. As long as this Jivatma is there, you can't stop going and coming. As long as this Jivatma is there, Punya Papa will continue to happen, Karma will continue to happen, Karma will bring Karma Phala will bring lot of experiences, different world. Punarapi Jananam, Punarapi Maranam is all for whom? How much ever Punya Karma you do, the Jiva Bhava will not go. What is that one thing which puts an end to this Jiva Bhava? It is this knowledge. The knowledge that I am not this observed body, I am the witnessing consciousness. Firmly abiding in witnessing consciousness and thus destroying Jiva Bhava is self-knowledge. And once that is attained, Jivatma gone. When Jivatma is gone, ego gone. Then who will go through Janma, Marana, etc.? The file is closed. Remember the example which I used to give, which Gurudev used to give. What is the example? The criminal who had lot of cases, pending cases. He has done lot of crime. And so many files are piled up, criminal cases. And one fine morning, he was shot dead. So now criminal is dead. What about the files now? What do you do with the files? Every file is saying 10 years imprisonment, 20 years imprisonment, this, that, etc. Now the fellow is gone. What will you do with the files? You will burn it off, isn't it? Why? The person himself is not there. The person who has to undergo all the suffering is not there. So you throw away all the files. In the same way, what has this yogi done? He has put an end to the Jiva Bhava in him. He has destroyed the ego. All the Sanchita karma, all the Agami karma, all the karmas are hanging on to this ego. What has he done? He has put an end to the ego. Now Sanchita karma will hang on to whom? There is nobody there. So therefore, Jnana is considered to be the greatest sadhana. But that in no way means all these sadhanas are inferior. Please. You have to do dana also, you have to do tapas also, because only when the mind is pure, this knowledge can be gained. You can't directly gain this knowledge. Purify the mind, gain the knowledge, and then become free. So for purification purpose, Veda, Yajna, Tapas, Dana, they are all important, they are unavoidable. So all the sadhanas have their place. But Jnana sadhana is considered superior because this is the one thing which is a direct solution for all the problem of samsara. So therefore, Atyetis tat sarvamidam viditva. See the term, viditva, knowing. Idam viditva, knowing this, gaining this knowledge. He transcends everything. the ego is completely destroyed. And therefore, what happens to this yogi? Yogi param sthanam upeti chadyam. This yogi attains the param sthanam, supreme sthanam, the supreme state, which is adyam, eternal. Eternal state he gains. So thus, this 8th chapter comes to an end. So what is the essential message of the 8th chapter? Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mam anusmara. All the time you remember me, then everything is fine with you. Om Tat Sadite Srimad Bhagavad Gitasu Upanishatsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Shri Krishna Arjuna Samvade Akshara Brahma Yogo Nama Ashtamodhyayah. Yes, thus comes to an end of this 8th chapter. And what is the name of the chapter? Akshara Brahma Yoga. Why this name? This name has come because Bhagavan's answer started with Aksharam Brahma Paramam. So thus comes an end to this chapter, which is nothing but Sri Krishna Arjuna Samvadi, a dialogue between Krishna and Arjuna. And what is the content of this dialogue? Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre. Brahma Vidya is the content. What is the goal and how to reach the goal? Brahma Vidya and Yoga Shastra. These are the contents. And this Bhagavad Gita, which is the very, very essence of all Upanishads. Thus, this chapter comes to an end. Beautiful chapter, worth revising again and again. And thus, let us remind ourselves that there is a great goal to be achieved. And there is a wonderful way not only to live, there is a wonderful way of dying also. Right, I sincerely invoke the grace of the Lord and blessings of Pujya Gurudev. May we live the way Bhagavad Gita has taught us. Vande Shankara Gurudeva Vande Shankara Gurudeva Pavana Charana Tore Karuna Jnanamrita Purna Vande Shankara Gurudeva Nitya Niranjana Satya Swarupa Pratyagatmane Anandarupa Nitya Niranjana Satya Swarupa Pratyagatmane Anandarupa Nidai Ghana Jnana Bodha नीडै घनज्ञानाबोधा ಬೇಡುವೆ ನಿನ್ನೋಳು ಶಂಕರ ವಂದೇ ಶಂಕರ ಗುರುದೇವಾ ವಂದೇ ಶಂಕರ ಗುರುದೇವಾ ಆತ್ಮಸ್ವರೂಪವ ಬೋಧಿಸಿಯನ್ನ ಮುಕ್ತ ಮಾಡು ನೀ ಶ್ರೀ ಗುರುದೇವಾ ಆತ್ಮಸ್ವರೂಪವ ಬೋಧಿಸಿಯನ್ನ ಮುಕ್ತ ಮಾಡು ನೀ ಶ್ರೀ ಗುರುದೇವಾ ನಾರಾಯಣ ಪಥದ ಬೋಧ ನಾರಾಯಣ ಪಥದ ಬೋಧ ಬೇಡುವೆ ನಿನ್ನೋಳು ಶಂಕರ ವಂದೇ ಶಂಕರ ಗುರುದೇವಾ ವಂದೇ ಶಂಕರ ಗುರುದೇವಾ ವಂದೇ ಶಂಕರ ಗುರುದೇವಾ बोलिए श्री सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की। ओम सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः, सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः, सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्। असतो मा सद्गमय, तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय, मृत्योर्मा अमृतं गमय। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ॐ।